Welcome to A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. I am joined by a very special guest today, the voice of a generation. His latest single, Sunbreon, is available now on all streaming platforms everywhere. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jason Paige himself.
Jason Paige. What's up, you guys? What's
God,
up?
I
What's
love
up?
it. I love it. All right, before we get into today's show, let's hear from our sponsor, Dubby Energy. I'm just going to edit.
W Energy.
This is A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason.
So, anyways, let's just get off. I'm going to start with a basic question. You are a voice of a generation, my generation, pretty much, being the huge embarkment of your career singing the Pokemon theme, and you have worked with a lot of other projects. Is there a single project or projects that stand out to you for being your favorite?
Wow. My favorite. Well, I don't have favorites. I have experiences. Meaning I have, bring my full self to every one of the experiences. I mean, some of them are more impactful than others, but I try to give my all for each one of these experiences and go for the gold, hit the ball out of the park, score the game winning run, so to
Right.
speak. But there is a great wall of credits that I should be able to post behind me. And wait a second. And I choose my background, and you can see all of the various things that I might be able to talk
There,
about.
there we
Let's see.
go.
How about that?
You got Sponge Out of Water, you got Scorpion's Humanity, you got Cobra Kai, Gotham, you got Rent, you got Meatloaf. Did you work on some of the Subway jingles?
I did Subway Eat Fresh.
That is awesome. I didn't even know that. And I saw that. I was looking at that picture like for like the longest time too.
Oh wow. Hold on. Let me get your. Let me just your audio is coming through my speakers and not through my headphones, which is really weird. So let me change that really fast. Audio output, microphone input, speaker. Here we go. Scarlett. Now I'll be able to hear you very
All
well.
right,
There we go. Ah,
sounds good.
excellent. Yes, yes. So there's no favorites. There's just all these experiences, these and many more. I particularly like, singing live in theater is the place where I can express myself the most, where I can be singing, acting with context. For instance, Joe's Garage is somewhere over here. The world premiere. There it is. Joe's Garage, Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage, one of the most incredible musicals ever written as a musical stage play by Frank Zappa. I don't know if you know Frank Zappa, but he
I do.
is a legend of musical masterpieces in his career. Unfortunately, he left us quite a while ago. But in 2007, I did the world premiere of Joe's Garage, and it is so hard hitting. Frank Zappa was completely anti-establishment. He did his own thing. He had nobody telling him what to do. He did exactly what he wanted to do politically, musically, and he basically tore a hole in every one of the established institutions, government, religion, education, the music industry, and this musical is just incredible. So I think if I have to choose a genre, I can choose theater musicals as a favorite genre.
That,
But eat one of them. I mean, there's called.
right.
I also did another thing called For the Record. It's For the Record Tarantino right there. I think that's. Can you kind of see it there? No, that's
Yeah.
Hair. Hair was really good too. Oh, here it is. Tarantino. Tarantino and Scorsese and Zemeckis and um, Coen brothers, and Baz Luhrmann. All these directors, we took the songs of the and the scenes of greatest scenes of all of their movies, like the entire Tarantino repertoire of movies, broke it down into amazing scenes, and the music that he uses to weave the scenes together all gets presented on stage in a live theatrical environment. And all of these directors were different shows. The Tarantino show was great. The Scorsese show was one of my favorites. I played Joe Pesci and I played Jack Nicholson all mixed together on stage while we had live guns with blanks in the guns. It was an unbelievable experience from the theater at the Wallace Annenberg in Hollywood.
That that is a great like impression of Joe Pesci.
Thank you, thank you.
That is just fantastic. There's well, there's a two, oh, more than two, but there's two that I want to ask you a few about that are quickly in your background. For Rent, did you write a lot of the music?
In Rent, there's a very interesting story about Rent. I was offered the original off Broadway show of Rent when it before it went to Broadway. I was doing my TV show, which is called the What's Up TV show. Here it is, the What's Up show, and it was airing on Manhattan Public Access cable TV. And um, I went into the audition. Jonathan Larson, the composer, was there, and the director and a couple of other people from the show were there. And Jonathan was like, "Oh, it's you! I love you! I watch your show all the time." Every week, people would tune in to watch Public Access and watch me do my crazy things in New York City. I was basically it's Saturday Night Live meets Kids in the Hall meets Real World meets Jackass, basically. So we were sketch comedy, but we were also real world. We were filming our skits in and around the East Village, and I had a band called What's Up as well. And the band would play CBGB's and Pyramid Club and all these incredible rock clubs in New York City. We were doing in the scene, and we would promote the band through the TV show and film our events and skits and weird stuff in and around the East Village. So my sort of character at the time was a kind of a cross between Roger and Mark. I was Mark running around the East Village. Our video was actually filmed in the band shell in Tompkins Square Park, which is the subject matter of Rent, where they're kicking out the homeless people. Can you hear that? Should I be trying to get them to quiet? Is that?
Ah, it's all right.
Hold on. Let me get them to. So sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
Anyway, edit out the cleaning people and
Yeah.
the incredible amount of vacuuming they're doing in the other room. So basically, I was an amalgamation of Roger and Mark. I was offered the role in the off Broadway production, and I had stuff going on, so I didn't take the show. I went and I did other things that I was doing at the time, including continuing my What's Up TV show. Um, 10 years later, I had lots of friends that actually did the show. Once it went to Broadway, my community of singers, which was a Broadway community of singers, also Broadway Inspirational Voices was a group of a gospel group that I was a part of, and that is somewhere up on this board as well. There it is, Broadway Inspirational Voices, right? You can't see anything because it cuts me off, but it's down there in the corner.
Yeah.
Um, my friends were in the show, and I knew a lot of people that were performing in the show and working on the show and the tours of the show. 10 years later, I was in Los Angeles, and the director, Neil Patrick Harris, who was one of the people who was in one of these touring productions, decided to he directed it at the Hollywood Bowl, and he remembered me from the Rent community, and because he watched the What's Up show as well. And I finally did Rent in 2010 at the Hollywood Bowl and performed in it. So I didn't write it, but it was in part, I know, based on some of the activities in my life. Those characters were kind of in Jonathan's mind at the time because there's too many similarities between what was going on in the show's script and what was going on in my life.
Right. Understandable. Now, is that for School of Rock, that being as huge as it got, and then when they did the reunion not that long ago, um, what was that like? Were you doing like a lot of the music for that?
School of Rock, I sang I woke up this morning and the sun was gone. Turn on some music, forgive my past. I lost in a song. I just did a sessioner. I closed my eyes and I slipped away. The More
Oh
Than a
yeah.
Feeling song. It was for the TV show. It was not for the movie. So that appeared in the TV show. So it was just that one off. But I sang what a lot of times what happens in television productions is they want to use a song, but they don't want to pay the amount of money that it would cost to use the original recording. So they find somebody like me who does sound alikes,
Right.
and they say and they buy the sound alike rights, which is very interesting. You have to buy the rights to sound like somebody sounds,
Right. So you
and
don't have
then
to pay like the
they hire
royalties to.
exactly. Then they hire me to sound exactly like the guy, and Bradley Delp, I think is his name, and record that for the TV show.
I kind of feel like that's like what the video game Guitar Hero did a lot in the beginning, where they didn't use a lot of their the actual royalties for the bands. They ended up doing like a lot of sound alikes for a lot of those, which
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
which is pretty interesting, especially in the beginning when you don't have money to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, even the major organizations they do that now. I mean, I don't know how much it would cost to use More Than a Feeling, but it's definitely
it's up
the five
there.
figures.
That's
Yeah,
up
it's
there.
like
It has
10,
to be
20,
up there.
$30,000 to use 30 seconds of a song. You
Right.
don't really want to spend that much money, so they spend
Right.
half of that or less.
Right. Now let's move on to a little bit different question here. You've been to a lot of conventions, signings, autographs, whatnot in the past. What is the oddest thing that you've ever autographed?
Uh, Asses. um, That I mean that was I've autographed the cars before. Some people actually some guy actually had me go up to the parking lot and autograph the inside left panel of the door in his car. That was really cool. And I have autographed a couple of other. That was just a normal car. That wasn't like I've autographed special Pokemon themed cars, which
Right.
makes sense. They had a whole bunch of other Pokemon related people who had autographed the car, and it had I think it had a Pikachu and a Charizard on it, all kinds of Pokemon stuff. That was cool. But just to autograph a dude's normal car, there was a Mustang in the Netherlands inside on the door where he could always be driving and see it. And I've autographed, besides just people's butts, I've autographed uh, people's. My autograph has been tattooed on people. So I would just take a piece of paper and sign it where they want the tattoo to be, and then they would have that transferred onto their leg in tattoo form. That's happened about 7 or 8 times now. It's really amazingly flattering and humbling, and I don't even know that somebody wants my autograph on their body
Right.
to
Permanently.
commemorate their childhood experience. It's so like I don't understand. I don't have any tattoos myself, but the significance of a tattoo, a thing that you have wearing on your body for the rest of your life, really signifies something that's very meaningful to you, and that people found such meaning in the song and the ecosystem that the song represents, and the fact that I sang the song and I'm not just some anonymous voice, that
Right.
I'm a human being that represents that song to them is a really, really an amazing thing, and I'm have profound gratitude for that people feel that way, that strongly about it.
Right. I know I've seen videos on YouTube and whatnot of people doing similar things, getting an autograph of anybody like they're fans of, and just getting it tattooed on themselves. There's one person I saw where he got like everybody that he's met. They just keep adding to him, which I'm like, that's
Oh
dedication right
wow.
there. Like, but like,
Jesse meets somebody hanging out in a bar, and he's like, "Yo, let me get you right here. What's your name again?" Bill.
like
All right, Bill, right there.
right, just like some random Joe. No, like yeah, it's hilarious. Like I have a few of my own. Like I know I'm gonna be looking at it like the rest of my life. Like it's not something just like somebody's name or whatever, but it's just that makes sense though. Like if you're
Yeah, it has to be significant.
right,
You want this thing to be meaningful.
right, and that's what it is for them. It's meaningful. Like you've made their like their childhood pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, it's an amazing thing. I had resisted that the title "Voice of a Generation," which is something that people had put on my YouTube channel over and over and over again. You're the voice of my generation, and years of it being called that, and then I just was like, all right, I'm gonna put that on a card. And people also say thank you for my childhood, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? Thank your parents for your childhood. I mean,
Right.
and then you realize in your lifetime you spend only this, in your childhood you're going to school for a good amount of the time, and then your play and your imagination and the things that you invest yourself in as a child might actually outweigh the amount of time that you spend with your parents.
Right.
So the Pokemon ecosystem is not just a song. They're thanking Pokemon for their childhood, and there isn't a Pokemon to thank. I mean, I guess they could write to the Pokemon corporate offices and say thank you for my childhood, but there's no real
Right.
they won't
Like
put a real human
response.
being there. But yeah, when I mean, I was really into Motley Crue. I liked Bon Jovi. I was into Styx, but like they didn't have cards, they didn't have TV shows, they didn't have Comic Con events, they didn't have plushies, they didn't have all of these things to occupy my time. I just had to go on to the next band, you
Right.
know.
Right. You have worked all over the world, all different projects. Besides Sunbreon being your latest recently out, are you currently working on any other projects?
Oh yeah, yeah. My music is constantly being recorded and produced in collaboration with a number of different DJs. I have a remix coming out, a drum and bass of the Pokemon theme song, and I've had a hard style remix done of it, and I've had a regular EDM remix done of it with three different DJs. And my own music is in the EDM range, and I'm also working on developing new products for my store. And I am in my show. I do a whole bunch of my own music as well. So I'm constantly expanding as an artist. And then in my art isn't only music, but it's also visual, as I
Right.
do sketches and drawings and stuff, and have found an outlet for that as well.
Awesome. Is there any for like your live performances, not just as DJing, but like with your actual regular performances, do you incorporate any of the music or other projects you've worked on besides Pokemon into your sets?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I do. I actually did a remix of Lego Mania, Lego Mania. I wrote the Lego Mania theme song with a partner of mine in 1995 to 2000. That Lego Mania theme song went on all of the Lego commercials. And just recently, I did a full version of it. So I rock that at shows sometimes. I do little snippets of all the jingles that I've done. I'll do a little snippets of Life's a Happy Song where there's someone by your side to sing along. The Muppet movie, and thank God it's Monday. Thank God it's Monday. A really fun day. The SpongeBob movie. And I'll sing some of my other jingles. When you get nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. The Pepto Bismol song, and people sing along with that sometimes. I do my own music, and then I do my Pokemon hits as well, which include the theme song, the Pokemon Go theme song that I wrote as well. I did a song for Ash's Last Goodbye. It's called Last Goodbye. It's for Ash and Pikachu's final episode where they get fired basically from the show.
Right.
Um, I did a song for Detective Pikachu, an unofficial theme song for Detective Pikachu that sometimes makes it into the live sets. And Michael Jackson down here, I sang with Michael Jackson in his 30th anniversary concert at Madison Square Garden, 30th anniversary of the Jackson 5, and I got to rap to Black and White protection for gangs, clubs, and nations, causing great fit human relations in the turf war. That whole rap was in there, and I do a live version of that sometimes in my show. So yeah, so the music goes in and out of recognizable music to EDM music of my own to Pokemon related music to jingles to all kinds of things.
Awesome. Awesome. Can't wait to hear it, and like, especially when we have you at I can't call it UperCon anymore. We have
Oh
to change
no!
Yeah, we have to change the name apparently. There was like another event that they brought back and like, oh, now we got to change it again.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm not sure what's going on with that, but hopefully to have you there. I can't wait for that.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you've worked with a lot of talented people in your career. Um, is there anyone specifically that you've worked with in the past that you would love to work with, or is there anybody, or sorry, would love to work with again, or is there anybody that you would love to work with that you haven't worked with?
Well, I'd love to work with Michael Jackson again when he comes out of hiding.
Yeah.
He faked his death. He's not really dead, you guys. He just got himself on some private island somewhere where he
Right.
could live happily. And that would be great. If that would be amazing. Imagine Michael finally comes back, resurrected, like a Christ figure back from the dead. Wow. Um, I would love to work with Stevie Wonder. He's one of my idols. However, there really isn't anybody else besides Stevie Wonder. I mean, he's the top of the line in terms of. I mean, Michael Jackson was the top, but Stevie even more so in many ways because of his writing and producing and his instrumental abilities, and his singing is off the charts.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the best singers that there
Right.
is. So, um, yeah, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder, I'd love to work with once before I die. Please, Stevie, if you're out there, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Lately, I have had the strangest feeling with no vivid reason there to find. One of my favorite songs lately.
I
So good.
love it. I know personally, I think I'd probably go nuts. My favorite singer, no offense, is Jeff Scott Soto, and I feel like you guys together would be just phenomenal. And he's worked on God projects upon projects upon projects. I don't know, God, I don't even know what he's doing now. I think he's working on like another album for the band Wet. But he sings with like TSO and does like a whole bunch of like. I feel like that
Oh,
guy's
cool.
always doing something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's one of those guys making the rock and roll rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trans Siberian. I've never sung with them. I have some friends that went out on tour with them though, but I hear it's a really an amazing event. I have my own Christmas show that I do in terms of working things in the future. Up here, it's called Both, a Beatles Gospel Nativity, a Hard Day's Silent Night. The Beatles. It's a Beatles concert with gospel arrangements. I have a gospel choir that I conduct. Arrangements that I wrote that tell the story of the Nativity with Beatles lyrics. It's incredible. It's an incredible, and yearly we've done it for the past 15 years, and we're gonna continue to keep it expanding it
I would
further.
love to see that.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Has there been a project that you've worked on in the past that you either couldn't stand for like some odd reason or just made you really frustrated while you're working on the project?
Hmm. Um. One of the things that's really frustrating a lot when you're touring, like for instance on tour with Enrique Iglesias, the shows are absolutely incredible. There's seven. I worked on his record seven. There he is right there, and I also toured with him for a while. But like, there's so much waiting for that moment of rehearsal, a moment of performance at the venue, and it's incredible. But then after that hour and a half, it's just you're just waiting until the next event. It'd be maybe a day or two later, or the next day. So you're like on call for 24 hours to do a 1 hour event, and we'd go away for a couple of weeks at a time for 2 or 3 shows. I mean, not just Enrique, but Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Olita Adams, and other people that I've toured with, where you're basically just you're working 24 hours, but you're only getting paid for the 1 hour.
Right.
So you really have to occupy yourself in places that you don't know where you're going to be. And you don't know where the good food is. You don't know. You just basically you're a professional traveler. Singing is this tiny little part of your life. You're traveling 24, 23 hours, and you're singing for 1 hour.
Right.
So even less than that. You're traveling for 72 hours and singing for 1 hour, basically.
Right.
But yeah, nothing, nobody specifically. Obviously, each one of these sessions or artists that I sing with or um, different things that I'm doing have their own personality and their own sort of challenges and their own structure that you have to work within. So it's not just one thing. It's, theater is also a very involved process where you're always in the theater space and everything exists in that one spot. Um,
Right.
and session singing, a lot of times I'll do sessions and I'll just be doing them right here from the privacy of this room, and there'll be nobody there, and all of these things are happening without any real human interaction. And I'll just send files to people for different projects, and that's kind of a lonely creative process where I have to really enjoy it, and I enjoy producing and creating on the computer and understanding how to produce and build tracks and build background vocals for various projects. But I'm just, I'm all by myself. There's really
Right.
no community in that.
Right. Now, is being by yourself, especially with the producing side of it, I'm assuming you use like a home studio for most of your stuff.
Well, now I do. Now that we can. I started using the digital audio interfaces back in the day when we were right when it came out, right in the mid '90s. My band What's Up was was prior to that recording in major New York City studios, and you really couldn't make a record unless you went into a major studio and recorded. But just in the late '90s, we started getting into the new digital audio interfaces and recording stuff at home. And since then, I can even do it on the phone. I can
Right.
even plug directly into the phone with this microphone I have, and it's amazing sound quality. And there's an app called BandLab where I'm mixing and mastering audio and sending files around if I
Right.
need to do a session on the phone. So yeah, the home studio is key. And this microphone right here, it's called a Slate microphone, which is really great. It has some great software that helps it turn into any microphone you want, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
know. Like,
everything can be done at home.
is was COVID around that time a little difficult for you with your career?
COVID sort of interrupted the first phase of me coming out of the Pokeball and presenting myself as the singer of the Pokemon theme song. Until 2016, I had never really no, it was a credit on my massive wall of credits, and that's it. Only people who read my resume. I didn't have this wall of credits
Right.
actually. I made this in 2020. But people who would then look at the bottom of my resume and see that Pokemon was down there, or on my bio. And I broke out of the Pokemon in 2016 and started going to events and signing autographs on basically 8 by 10 pictures of myself, the way that all the voiceover actors and all the celebrities at these events do. In 2020, I got the idea to just put one of my a Pikachu card onto my website to see if anybody wanted to buy that with my autograph. And because nobody was buying they would buy the autographs on my posters at events, but they weren't really buying the autographs on my posters during the pandemic when there was no events.
Right.
So I autographed a Pikachu card and I put it on my website and on Facebook groups. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted the autograph on the Pokemon cards. So I discovered the Pokemon card collecting community and the value that my autograph had to cards as opposed to just the value that it would have on a piece of paper on a napkin or a photo of me.
Right.
And this value is so much greater because the cards have value themselves. And also during the pandemic, everybody was trapped at home and they went into their garage and they looked through cleaning out their stuff, found their old Pokemon cards. So the Pokemon card collecting community exploded in
Right.
2020 because of the pandemic, because of cleaning out their
Yep.
garage. And they all started buying, selling, trading online on the Facebook groups. I posted my card on the Facebook groups, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, this is the guy that sang the song. Look, he's got a card, and he's signing autographs." And they started sending me their cards, and basically, that sort of discovery happened because of the pandemic, and I just signed cards from home during
Right.
the whole pandemic and sent them out to people. Soon as the smoke cleared, people started inviting me to events, and Pokemon card events started happening. So there's one that was one of the first ones after the pandemic called Collecticon, and Collecticon had their first one in 2021, I believe. 2022, they did 4 events, and it's mostly Pokemon card collectors and all of the various things that go around Pokemon cards, or card collecting, sports cards too, but mostly Pokemon cards. But the grading companies, the slab companies, all of the different voice actors that might have had something to do with some of the cards, and the anime that goes along with it. So now Collecticon this year is they have 18 events. So this ecosystem continues to expand. All started from the 2020 explosion. People going in the garage and
Right.
hoping that their mom hadn't thrown away all their Pokemon cards.
That is awesome. With your YouTube, you're past the 250,000 mark in subscribers. Uh, is there anyone on YouTube, particularly like singers, creators, whatever, that you would want to work with and showcase your work with?
Oh yeah, let's get Logan Paul in the house. Let's do a collab with Logan Paul. He's a big Pokemon fan. I'm sure he knows about me, but he does some really cool video stuff. Mr. Beast, let's go. Let's get a song for Mr. Beast.
Right.
Let's get a giveaway. Let's get some Pokemon stuff given away for Mr. Beast,
I,
because he does amazing, amazing giveaways. So yeah, I think the social media, the people, the YouTube is the new mainstream. So yeah, the big accounts. I'd love to do more collabs with people on that.
right.
I have a dog knocking on the door here. So
I
hold
know
on.
with Logan Paul, he's contracted with WWE at the moment, but like when he first made I think his first appearance or one of his first matches he did, he actually came to the ring with like a graded 10 Charizard around his neck to the
Yes,
ring.
a Beckett 10, and it was a real one.
And I'm just like, that is hilarious that he's wearing it to the ring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just got contacted today by a boxer or one of these mixed martial arts guys who comes into the ring every time with the Pokemon theme song, and he asked me, to do something with him. But he sent me video of him walking into the ring. So this is a common occurrence. The sports guys are Pokemon fans, and they like to enter with a Pokemon theme song. I did one event called Creator Clash, which is basically all of the YouTube influencers fighting each other in a ring.
I've
And
seen that.
Leon Hart, one of the big Pokemon influencers, I've been on his show a couple of times. He had me singing the Pokemon theme song as he walked out for his match. It was
That
really
is
cool.
awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on today's episode. We'd love to have you back as a guest, and I can't wait to see you at cons and a
Oh
whole
yeah,
bunch of other stuff. Um,
yeah, dude.
Everybody check out Jason Page's YouTube and TikTok. Link will be in the description below. Make sure you hit that follow button and hit subscribe on YouTube. Stay up to date with all of the other content. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you get podcasts, every streaming platform.
What's the name of it?
A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason.
Reason to talk with Chris Reason, yeah.
God, I love it. Peace and bacon grease, guys.